What kinds of questions do people reach out with most often? And how many of those are like repeat questions?
Yeah, so almost all the properties we sell now are the buyers are requesting seller financing. And so a lot of the commonalities we get are, hey, do you finance? What are your terms? What does the closing process look like? And really just the generic details on the property. What are the utilities? What are the different amenities, access, things that the properties have? And so those are basically the same questions over and over.
Over and over again. Yeah. Welcome back to Property Pulse, the show where we talk about what's really happening behind the scenes in real estate operations. I'm your host, Drew from AI Business Systems. We build custom AI receptionists for property teams, but this show isn't about tech demos. It's about people, processes, and pressure points. Today's guest is Bryan Payne, founder of Many Mansions. Bryan's background spans land investing, development, project management, and helping people make confident decisions around dirt, which I love. Bryan, most people think land is simple because there's no tenants, but I have a feeling that that's not actually true. For listeners who don't live in land deals every day,
Yeah.
can you give us the quick version of what Many Mansions does and who usually reaches out to you?
Yeah, for sure. I do land deals nationwide. So we basically, obviously the background is in land flipping, but also house flipping, custom homes, spec homes, and you need dirt for all of it. So for apartments, for everything. So it all starts with dirt, and we do some entitlement deals to prep it for multifamily as well. So there's a lot of different avenues. We work with investors, with retail buyers, with builders, and figure out how to make all those deals work.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what does like a normal inbound day look like for you between like calls, texts, emails, investors, like you said, sellers? What does it look like?
Yeah, it's kind of a mix. We usually have a couple hours every day that I'm taking leads directly from landowners
Mhm.
and trying to lock those up under contract. And then I spend some time on some of the larger projects doing subdivides on commercial properties or residential to basically break land parcels down into smaller deals. So working a lot with engineers, architects, and sellers to coordinate that when they carry the lot for me, because oftentimes we don't close on deals while we're doing all of these. We generally have sellers carry properties, but then ultimately I'm talking to buyers a lot of the days, trying to
Got it.
get them details on the properties and really trying to, make those calls more efficient with
Mhm.
buyers so that way they have all the information they need at their fingertips to try to remove any obstacles to buy land. So that's the
Got,
part that we're trying to speed up all the time.
got it. Yeah. And you don't really have tenants in the traditional sense, right? But you do have people who need answers. What kinds of questions do people reach out with most often? And how many of those are like repeat questions?
Yeah, so almost all the properties we sell now are the buyers are requesting seller financing. And so a lot of the commonalities we get are, hey, do you finance? What are your terms? What does the closing process look like? And really just the generic details on the property. What are the utilities? What are the different um, amenities, access, things that the properties have? And so
Mhm.
those are basically the same questions over and over.
Over and over again. Yeah. And then when someone reaches out after
Yeah.
hours or on weekends, what happens? What usually happens?
Mhm. I I have a couple different things that I don't love right now, but the best things we've found that work are just obviously answering machine where they leave a message and we get back to them first thing the next day. I have used an AI agent that's just kind of a generic. Basically, it asks them questions instead of just leaving a voicemail. So that way we get their name, their phone number, and that actually works pretty well. And that automatically creates a contact in our CRM to capture the lead as well. So it's all built in there.
Now, are you still using that? Or you said you have used it in the past?
We are still using that. We're looking at ways to improve it because ideally our end goal is having an AI agent really take every single call um, and ask a few vetting questions. Who are you? Are you retail buyer or investor? Which property you looking at? and then hand it off to one of my VAs to kind of close the deal, or if there needs some escalation, to basically have that human touch to address
Yeah.
the buyer's concerns. So,
And no matter what, we always need human touch, right? That's the relationship building part that AI just can't replace.
yeah,
In your
yeah,
world,
exactly.
speed and trust probably matter more than almost anything, I would imagine. How quickly do you feel you need to respond to a new inquiry to keep momentum?
Really, sorry, getting needs coming in right now. See, that's where an AI agent could help me. Um, but yeah, speed and is key. So we're definitely always focused on, if we can call back both our landowners, the seller leads, and the buyers within 2 to 5 minutes, that's the goal. But obviously, that's easier during work hours than anywhere else. But that's the goal.
Very interesting. Okay. Do you feel like you ever lose deals simply because life gets busy and follow up slips?
Yes, we did build workflows to help with that a bit, so that no lead is lost. Because I actually use Go High Level as my CRM,
Mm-hmm.
and we have workflows built out in there that'll automatically respond via text or email. And there's some prompts in there that before AI responds, it goes to ChatGPT, formulates an answer, and responds back to. Where obviously that could improve for sure, but um, that's all new in the market, and so we're utilizing that so that we don't lose any leads. But
Yeah.
again, I think there's more of a personal touch that could be added within that AI system.
Yeah. But it sounds like you're really trying things out, experimenting with different things, which is cool. Have you ever mapped out how many
Yeah,
conversations don't turn into deals, but still take time?
I have not. No, that's not a data point I have.
And I would say even with vacant land, there's still coordination, right? Site visits, calls, walkthroughs, due diligence, all of that. What part of scheduling or,
Yeah,
or coordinating tends to create the most friction for you?
probably the most friction. I think with land, obviously, there's no doors to unlock, anything like that. And so it's usually allowing people to go out on their own time, but I still try to lock in when that is for them so that they have a scheduled, hey, oh yeah, this day actually works in this time. So I'm going to head out then. And then I say, I'll just be available by phone so that if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and call me. And so at least they know they're supported in it, and I'm expecting them to go out to the property at that time.
Yeah.
But from a buyer's standpoint, it still seems to be, do we have terms that'll work for them? And then on the flip side, do I have a note investor or private lender that I can pair up to the property so I don't have to carry financially every deal? It's
Nice.
basically, let me plug in an investor or private lender or somebody that can carry the note once they put down the down payment. That's always a big point of friction, and just really that coordinating that transaction from initial buyer call all the way through to working with the title company to close the deal. So that's what I'm working on for 2026. That's my goals.
Big plans for 2026 coming right up.
Yeah.
How much how much time do you think you spend just setting things up versus actually making decisions?
A lot. Yeah, because I think a lot of it is just getting in front of the clients and making sure there's a lot of open communication, that you stay forefront of their mind versus other properties and other buyers. And so, yeah, there's definitely a lot of back end that could be taken care of
And if someone could magically handle the logistics part, where would you spend that saved time?
with my kids,
Beautiful.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my goal is really only work half days here because I think I'm getting there, but the confidence level of walking away fully is not quite there yet. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It is hard to let go. It's your baby, right? Yeah. On one hand, you definitely want to spend time with your family more, and that's beautiful. But you got to have systems in place to give you that confidence. I'm curious, have you ever looked at using automation
yeah,
or
for
AI to
sure.
support communication in your business?
As far as like more than workflows and things like that, is that what you're talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know much about it or what the options are out there.
Do you think that there's value in technology that protects your time without removing the human without
Yeah, exactly. You've got to have that kind of hybrid setup that that's a well-oiled machine.
Yeah. Where do you think technology helps, and where do you think that it actually gets in the way?
Um, I think it definitely helps with automation, as far as follow-up. Love technology for follow-up and basically not having to think about it. Um, when I'm speaking directly to, a buyer or a seller, it seems to be getting in the way when, I'm having a conversation, but then they get a follow-up the same day that is not tracking with what the conversation is I'm having with that person. And then it throws them off. And then they call me back and they're like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, just ignore that. That's, an automated message or something like that. So that's probably, there's got to be a way for it to recognize there's activity happening and then pause or hold off on those type of things. Yeah.
Well, Brian, I really appreciate how grounded your approach is, especially in an industry where people often overcomplicate things. For listeners, the big takeaway here is that even simple real estate businesses are really communication businesses. Brian, where can people find you if they want to learn
Yep.
more or reach out?
Yeah. My website is landmadeeasy.com and our contact information is on there as well.
And we'll also include your contact information in the description below. So everyone, we want to thank you for
Cool.
tuning into this edition of Property Pulse. If you enjoyed this conversation, subscribe and share it with someone who lives in the trenches. Until next time, keep your operations human, but keep the relationships there. So thanks, everyone. And thanks, Brian.